Hello and welcome to Chuck's Culture Channel, your YouTube spot for lively conversation on the lively arts in St. Louis and beyond. And my guest today is director and soprano Patricia Racette. She's the artistic director of Young Artist Programs at Opera Theater of St. Louis. Program members appear in chorus and supporting roles during the season and in a special concert on stage with members of the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for the 2024 season that happens on June 25th. Current and former members of the program can be seen not only at Opera Theater, but also at many other high-profile opera companies such as L.A. Opera, Chicago Lyric Opera, the Met, and San Francisco Opera, just to name a few. All that and more in the interview, which starts now. Okay, so here I am talking with Patricia Racette, and if you're like me, you go to Opera Theater of St. Louis, you look at the program, and next to most of the names in the program, you'll see all these little symbols, a diamond, and a cross, and an open circle, and you might have noticed that they will refer to former or current Jardine Young artists or members of the Gaddis Festival program, and maybe you ask yourself, what the heck does that mean? Well, here with me, as I said before, is the woman who is in charge of Young Artist Programs at Opera Theater, soprano and director Patricia Racette. And you're going to tell us all about it, I hope.
I will tell you all about it because it's something I'm very excited about. The Jardine and Richard Gaddis Festival artists are a collection of people anywhere from 28 to 34, depending on the season and the casting needs. This year we have 32. First, I'll start with delineating the difference between a Jardine Young artist and a Richard Gaddis Festival artist.
Appreciate that, because I think most of us don't know.
Sure. Well, sadly, we lost Richard rather recently. But this has been he's our founding, person for the Opera Theater. So, we long ago they wanted, before my tenure here, to honor him with this named position. And really, there's usually only one or two, maybe. I think maybe in the past there's been three Gaddis Festival artists, and those almost always are artists that are invited back after doing mostly it's 2 years. Every once in a while it's 1 year, as I understand it, again, before my tenure. So, and those people in those roles are delineated more by our union, our company. It's sort of more of a featured role. For example, Titus Musi is our Chonard, and he is a Gaddis Festival artist. He's been with the 2 previous years as a Jardine Festival artist. Katie O'Mara is also our Gaddis Festival artist. And because she's done 2 years with us as well, and she's doing Duchess Christina, as well as some significant cover responsibilities. The thing with the Gaddis Festival artists, they don't have to be a part of the chorus. So it's the Jardine artists that make up the chorus, as is typical every year. So they're able to sort of concentrate their time on their tasks, which is usually more of a role responsibility. And be able to coach and train with a bit more freedom. So in terms of schedule, so that's the basic difference. But they are under one umbrella and under my care. So it's exciting to have someone back for a third year, because then you really understand one another and the very specific individualized needs of honing and polishing and preparing one for their launch in this profession. So, that's the basic difference, I would say.
Okay. And it's a vitally important program, I have to say, because any performing artist needs experience in front of an audience at some point to learn their craft. And as I said in my intro, alumni of this program have gone on to appear with a lot of big name opera companies over the years. So,
absolutely, we have some amazing alumni. I mean, I don't have the full list in front of me, but it runs the gamut, and singing every and all the major opera houses, and that's very exciting. Young artist programs in general are so very important. They serve a number of purposes. They help, again, the honing and the training, the fostering of these young talents, and getting the skills they need for this incredibly complex, opulent, virtuosic art form. And there are many facets. So it gives them a solid 9 weeks of intensive training in a variety, a myriad of ways. That's what a young artist program really helps. It also is an endorsement. When I'm on audition tour, I'll look at someone's resume and I'll see, oh, they were part of this. They went to that young artist program. Maybe not too many though, right? But just check out. It's an endorsement for them. It says, hey, this person is worth the time and is competitive in this field. So that's also exciting. But specifically, you mentioned time on stage. Yeah. I speak very specifically since I've taken over this program, because they didn't have a named person actually running the program before my tenure. And I remember speaking to our general director, Andrew Jorgensen, said, I have some very specific ideas of how to form what I think would be the most optimum training experience, given the schedule, the time. In a festival season, it's cooking on high heat. You're really, it's busy, busy, busy. I went through the Merrill program in San Francisco back in the dark ages, and then also was an Adler Fellow for 2 years. And I remember how essential, not important, but essential that experience was in preparing me for the profession. So from that experience and 35 years of singing on all the stages, around the globe, I feel like I can unfold a very specific kind of training that they need. One of the things that I've implemented, the training is, I should speak generally, the training is they'll get coachings on their repertoire, audition repertoire, what roles that they're preparing. They'll also, I've insisted they all show up completely memorized, off book, prepared.
Yes.
That's mostly successful, say I, tilting my glasses down. Because it's important. It's important to the actual skill. It's not just strictness for being, for strictness sake. And so, they have the coachings, they have time on stage in the chorus. They are doing smaller roles in the 4 operas. But something I implemented that I was told, no, it's not possible, there's no room in the schedule, was cover runs. So they are actually staged in the roles that they're covering, are me or Adolfo, et cetera, et cetera. They're being staged. And then we have a quasi performance in the room where my colleagues and artistic leadership and donors and patrons sometimes come. Sometimes the actual principals singing the roles come. And I have to tell you, it is hilarious. It's fabulous. It is so exciting. And their fellow colleagues come. And when this tenor just sits there and nails that high note, it is like a rock concert. It's like, woo! It's really exciting to see the enthusiasm, the support, and the chance to do this. And I say this all the time, boots on stage.
Yeah.
They need time to actually realize the full capacity of what it is to be a theatrical musical performer.
Yeah. And I think as someone who's been going to opera theater since the first year, yes, I am old. I think there has been more than one occasion in which one of the young artists has had to step into a role on stage, if I recall. So
before my tenure, they never went on stage. They just sang it from the side. And I said, no. So it was 22. We had one of our young artists go on as Escamillo. Thank you, COVID. And he was thrown right there, and he did great. I mean, you have to be ready to act. That's why I say you can prepare like it is your second skin. You don't have to, there's no searching for the note or, what's that rhythm. You have it locked in, because you never know when these opportunities are going to arise in this kind of a profession. And so I find this a really important addition. And it's something. It's a popular popular event here, but it's also necessary. It's necessary because I find that so often, this is not to be critical of, although it's going to sound that way. So of conservatories and universities, there is the heavy prioritization on vocal technique.
Yes.
Make no mistake, it is essential. You have to have some command of your vocal technique. But we take things apart. You work on the diction, on the language. You work on the style, musical style. Maybe you'll even work occasionally. I hear of, working on stage deportment. But these things were never meant to exist unintegrated.
Right.
They were always meant. So it's the putting it together. And I say this to my young artists. It is the press and go. We have to practice press and go. And what does that mean? You have to marry all those things together and throw the dart and see where it lands. Mm-hmm. So I said, no one wants to see you standing up there and watching your voice lesson. I want to have the total experience. And that is something that I find almost pretty much 100% that process hasn't happened. So I take it, it's incumbent on me to make sure that they know that is the end game. They were never meant to be separated. Of mm-hmm. course, they have to, because of the demands of such a virtuosic endeavor, but they were never meant to be as such. The other thing I implemented is we now have center stages semi-staged. It's not just a park and bark. It's right. Semi-staged.
Park and bark. I like that.
Yeah, it's semi-staged. Little to no props. It doesn't matter, but it just allows them again the opportunity to fully realize what it is to perform that piece with that circumstance and those characters, and interacting with your scene partners, all while getting the cue from the maestro, while finding your light here. Those are the realities of what it's like out there. And so I find it my responsibility to prepare them for that.
And in fact, I'm going to interrupt you. Yeah. I was going to say,
no, please.
When people come to see the center stage concert, which I hardly recommend you do if you're watching the Fort goes on, what you'll see is what you see behind me pretty much. The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra with a small space in front used for the semi-staging and the singers in front of them. And it is always, in my experience, just a great time. The program always consists of opera and sometimes musical theater excerpts.
And in this time as well, yes.
Solos, duets, trios, and even full ensembles. It is just invaluable both for the audience and for the performers. Speaking of which, now, do you also direct the center stage?
Yes, not all of them, because there's, I lost count. There's quite a few. So I share that with my colleague, Jim Robinson, who directs some scene, our artistic director. We have two resident ADs, Ian Silverman and Diane Machine, and they direct a few scenes. And then we have our young artist assistant director, and she is also directing scenes. So we all sort of take a crack at it. We meet in a room, and I said, I need a bench and I need a small table. What do you need? And so we try and consolidate it. There's not much time and capacity to change out things, but all you need are these just simple little elements, and you can bring something to life in a more thorough way than just standing there and delivering it. So and it gives them the experience of, again, inhabiting the totality of what it is to participate in this art form, to perform.
Oh, that's great. Patricia Racette, thank you so much for taking time out to talk to me. I know that you're really busy right now, so I appreciate it. And everybody out there, go see the center stage concert if you haven't already. See the rest of the opera theater season, and tell your friends about Chuck's Culture Channel. I don't do ads for this, so I rely on you, the person watching it right now, to get the word out. So thanks very much. And again, Patricia, thanks so much. Appreciate it, and best of luck with the rest of the season. I'm enjoying it so far and looking forward.
Thank you. Such a pleasure talking with you. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.